Good morning, students. This is the class for 8th standard, subject social, and topic name is geography, third lesson, hydrological cycle. Okay, so first one we are going to see about water on the earth. About 71% of the earth's surface is covered by water. We already know that. Okay, most of the earth's surface is covered by water. Okay, and also 71% which is covered by water. The quantity of water present on the earth is about 326 million cubic miles, and it is hard to visualize this massive quantity of water, so we cannot able to visualize these massive quantity of water. Okay, and most of the water on the earth is saline and also is found in the seas and ocean, so we can able to see salt water only in seas and oceans only. Okay, and the salt water constitutes about 97.2 percentage, and the fresh water is the only about 2.8 percentage. Okay, so the salt water 97.2 we can able to see salt water only. Okay, so fresh water is about 2.8 percentage only, and out of this 2.8 percentage and about 2.2 percentage is available on as a surface water. So out of 2.8 2.2 percentage is available on the earth's surface, and remaining 0.6 percentage as the groundwater. So from 2.8 percentage, from that 2.2 percentage we can available on the surface or surface water, and also the remaining 0.6 percentage water that is consist of groundwater. And from this 2.2 percentage of the surface water and 2.15 percentage is available in the form of glacier and ice caps. Okay, and so from the 2.2 percentage of the surface water and 2.15 percentage of the water is which is formed by glacier and ice caps, and 0.01 percentage in the lakes and streams, and remaining and 0.04 percentage is in the other forms. Okay, so 0.01 percentage we can able to see in the lakes and streams, and the remaining 0.0 percentage of the water in some other forms. Okay, and only about 0.25 percentage of the total groundwater of a 0.6 percentage can be. So we can get it total groundwater is 0.25 percentage. Okay, from that total groundwater 0.06 percentage we are using economical purpose, and which is extracted with the present drilling technology. So using present drilling technology we can taking that 0.06 percentage of the water. Okay, and water resources are useful, or potentials useful to humans. Okay, so water resources very much useful for the humans purpose, and water in India is available in 3 sources. Okay, so in India it is water sources are available in 3 forms: precipitation and surface water and groundwater. So we already surface water means புவியின் மேற்பரப்புல இருக்க water, groundwater means நிலத்தடி நீர். Okay, and next one is hydrologic cycle or water cycle. Hydrology is the science which deals with the various aspects of water, such as its occurrence and distributions, movement, and properties and the planet earth. Okay, so hydrology is related to science which is also deals with the various kinds of water, aspects of water, such as accuracy, distributions, movement, and properties on the planet earth. Availability of water on the earth is not uniform, so the water we are getting from the earth is not uniform one. Okay, and some places are very rich and some places are very poor in water resources, so we can get water in some particular places and are very high. ஓகே, ரொம்ப அதிகமாக கிடைக்கும், ஒரு சில பிளேசஸில் கம்மியாக கிடைக்கும் அப்படின்றாங்க. அண்ட் hydrologic cycle is a global sun-driven process where water is transported from the ocean to atmosphere, and from atmosphere to land, and from land back to ocean. So it is a global cycle. Okay, so hydrologic cycle is a globalized sun-driven process, and through sun-driven only this is happening. Okay, so water is transported from ocean to atmosphere. So water வந்து ஓஷன்லேருந்து அட்மாஸ்பியர் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுது, அண்ட் ஆல்சோ ஃப்ரம் அட்மாஸ்பியர் டு லேண்டுக்கு ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுது, அண்ட் ஃப்ரம் லேண்ட் டு அகெயின் பேக் டு ocean. Okay, and the water cycle can be considered as a closed system for the earth. Okay, so the water cycle is closely associated with the earth, as the quantity of water involved in the cycle is invariable, though it is a distribution varies over space and time. So the water is varies from space and times. Okay, and so next one is hydrologic cycle is a global sun-driven process where water is transported from ocean to atmosphere, and from atmosphere to land, and from land back to oceans. Okay, so this is called as a sun-driven process. Okay, so in this process the water is transported from ocean to atmosphere போகும், அதுக்கப்புறம் அட்மாஸ்பியரில் வந்து லேண்டுக்கு போகும், அகெயின் ஃப்ரம் லேண்ட் ரிட்டர்ன் பேக் டு ஓஷன்ஸ். ஓகே, the water cycle can be considered as a closed system for the earth, as the quantity of water involved in the cycle is invariable. So in this process, the quantity of water does not change. Okay, not at all changed, but though it is distribution varies over space and time, but the distribution of water, okay, the distribution of water can be changed because of space and time. Okay, and evaporation take place from surface water and transpiration from plants. So from the surface, okay, so the evaporation will be happen from the surface of water, and it transport from plants. Okay, so the evaporation வந்து எங்கேருந்து ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகும்னா, the evaporation takes place from the surface of water, and it is transported from the plants, and water vapor get condensed as higher altitude by the condensation and nuclei and form clouds. So due to higher altitude of water vapor, it can be changed, it can be form clouds. The clouds melt and sometimes burst, result in the precipitation of different forms. So due to clouds melt, and it will be sometimes it burst, okay, which is result in the precipitation of different forms, which creates different forms of precipitation. Apart of water from precipitation flows over the land, and it is called runoff, and the other parts of infiltrates into soil, which builds up the groundwater. So apart from flowing water, okay, apart from precipitation water, some will be flow, okay, so some will be overflow the land, that is called as a runoff, and the other part of the other waters will be absorbed in the soil, and also it creates a groundwater. Okay, and hydrologic cycle is a circulation of water. It is a continuous process and take place naturally. So hydrological cycle என்றது ஒரு circulation form, okay, and circulation of water, and it is a continuous process. Okay, and it is happen naturally. The three important phases of hydrologic cycle are evapotranspiration and precipitation and runoff. So evapotranspiration means ஆவி இருப்புன்னு அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Okay, and precipitation means பொழிவு, and runoff means நீர் வழித்தோடல். ஸோ அந்த precipitation வரக்கூடிய அந்த ஃப்ளோ ஆகக்கூடிய வாட்டர் தான் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா நீர் வழிந்தோடல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ஓகே, and components of hydrologic cycle. There are 6 main components in hydrologic cycle. Okay, so this is the important one. They are evapotranspiration and condensation and precipitation, infiltration and percolation and runoff. So these are the 5 components in the hydrologic cycle. First one we are going to see about evapotranspiration. It is defined as the total loss of water from the earth through evaporation from the surface of water bodies and the transpiration from vegetation. So it is defined as a total loss of water, okay, and the earth due to evaporation from the surface of water bodies. Okay, and in cropped areas it is difficult to determine the evaporation and transportation separately. So we cannot separate evaporation and transportation in cropped places, and therefore it is collectively called as evapotranspiration. So it is fully combined and combinedly called as a evapotranspiration. Okay, the following parts explain the process of evaporation and transpiration separately. So the following parts only they will detailedly give about the evaporation, process of evaporation and also transpiration in a separate manner. Okay, Okay, next one is evaporation. Evaporation means neer aviyadal. Evaporation refers to the process in which the liquid form of water changes into gaseous form. Okay, so in this process, the liquid form of water will be changed into a gaseous form of maru. Okay, and water boils at the 100 degrees Celsius temperature, but it is actually begins to evaporate at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the temperature when water boils with a 100 degrees Celsius temperature, but it actually begins with the evaporate 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then the process takes place very slowly. So this is very slowest process, and temperature is the prime element which affect the rate of the evaporation. So temperature, so the temperature only the prime one. Okay, it will affect the rate of the evaporation. It will only affect the rate of evaporation. There is a positive relationship between these two variables. Aerial extent of the surface water, wind and atmospheric humidity are the other variable which affect the rate of the evaporation. So these are the other causes which affect the rate of the evaporation. Okay, and the atmosphere gets nearly 90% of the moisture from the ocean, seas, lakes and river through evaporation. Okay, so through evaporations, in atmosphere will get moisture. Okay, and from ocean, seas, lakes. Okay, but from seas, ocean, lakes only, the atmosphere get a moisture nearly 90%. Okay, and the 10% of the moisture from the plants through transpiration. So from 10% moisture we are getting from plants, and also due to transpiration. And a global scale, the amount of water gets evaporated is about the same amount of water delivered to the earth as a precipitation. So if we take a global scale, means the amount of water which is evaporated, the same amount only which is delivered to earth as a precipitation. Okay, பொழிவா நம்மளுக்கு வந்துருது அப்படின்னா. And the process varies geographically as the evaporation is more prevalent over the oceans than precipitation. Okay, so if we take geographically mean which is varies. Okay, and the evaporation is more prevalent over seas. In seas place and it will be more happen. Okay, and then precipitation. While over the land, precipitation routinely exceed evaporation. So if we take land, means it is only it will be decrease in the lands. Okay, and the rate of evaporation is low during the periods of calm wind than during windy times. Okay, so the rate of precipitation which is very low. Okay, in the period of calm winds and during windy times. Okay, and when the air is calm, the evaporated water tend to stay close to the water body. So when the air is very calm, that time the evaporation of water, it will be very close to the water bodies. And during windy time, the water vapor is driven away. Okay, so in the windy time enna agumna, it will be the water will be which is very driven away, and it is replaced by the dry air. Okay, varanda kaatrinala idu vandu appadi maranjirum, which is facilitate addition evaporation. So this is also leads to extra evaporation they are telling. Okay, and transpiration refer to the process by which the water content in the plants are released into the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So in this, okay, transpiration means from the plants. Okay, the water content in the plants which is released in the atmosphere, which is create a form of water vapor. So from the plant also it will be transpired. Okay, transpirations will be happen in the form of water vapor. So the plants also released water vapor they are telling. Okay, much of the water taken by a plants. Okay, நிறைய வாட்டர் வந்து எதுதான் இருக்கும், பிளான்ட்ஸ் தான் எடுத்துக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னா, அண்ட் இஸ் ரிலீஸ்டு த்ரூ டிரான்ஸ்பிரேஷன். ஓகேவா, அவங்க அந்த பிளான்ட்ஸ் கிடைக்கிற தண்ணியெலாம் எது மூலியமாக தான் ரிலீஸ் பண்ண முடியும், டிரான்ஸ்பிரேஷன் மூலியமாக தான் ரிலீஸ் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்றாங்க. இந்த ரேட் ஆஃப் டிரான்ஸ்பிரேஷன் இஸ் ஆல்சோ அஃபெக்டட் பை த டெம்பரேச்சர். ஸோ த டெம்பரேச்சர், டியூ டு டெம்பரேச்சர் the rate of transpiration will be affected. Okay, temperature, wind and humidity. So due to this reasons, the rate of transpiration also will affect. The rate of transpiration is also affected by the nature of vegetation and the method of cultivation of crops. So another reason they are telling that by natural vegetation and also method of cultivation of crops, because of these two reasons also the rate of transpiration will be affected too. And condensation means நீர் எப்படி சுருங்குது அப்படின்னா, it refers to the process in which the gaseous form of water change into liquid form. So this gaseous forms will be changed into liquid form. This is called as a condensation. Condensation generally occurs in the atmosphere. Okay, so mostly it will be happen in atmosphere when warm air rises and cool and loses its capacity to hold the water vapor. So when the warm air is rises, it could not able to hold the cools, okay, and it could not able to hold the water vapor, okay. As a result, excess of water vapor condenses to form a cloud droplets, okay. So the excess of water, that is only creating cloud droplets, okay. And the condensation is responsible for the formation of clouds. So the condensation only main reason for making a clouds, and these clouds produce the precipitation, which is the primary route for the water to return to the earth's surface. So the clouds only, okay, producing precipitation, பொழிவை உண்டாக்குது. From that only the primary route of water return to the earth, okay வா, அது பொழிவு மூலியமாக தான் நம்ம earthக்கு வந்து water கிடைக்குது. It is earth surface in the water cycle, okay. And condensation is the opposite of evaporation. So condensation is just opposite to the evaporation. Forms of condensation: dew, frost, fog, mist and clouds are the different forms of condensation. Dew means pani. It is the water droplet formed by the condensation of water vapor on the relatively cold surface of an object, okay. So it is also in the form of water droplet, okay. And by the condensation of water vapor on a relatively any object, any cold object, it will be created a dew. It forms when the temperature of an object drops below the dew point of temperature. So the temperature it will be very below means, if any object means, it only forms the dew. And frost, the ice crystals form the depositions of water vapor on the relatively cold surface of an object. It is known as a frost. So the ice crystals only deposited in the water vapor, okay va, deposited of the water vapor and in the cold surface of any object, it become a frost. And it forms when the temperature of an object drops below the freezing point of temperature. So if it is going below the freezing point of temperature means it will create the frost, okay. So next one is fog. Fog means adar moodu bunni appadinu sollu, okay. And fog is the suspended tiny water droplets or ice crystals in an air layer next to the earth's surface that reduces the visibility to thousands meter or lower. So in air layer, if it is reduces means it only creating tiny water droplets or crystals, okay va. So காற்றில் இருக்க ஏர் வந்து குறையறனால தான் நம்மளுக்கு என்ன ஆகும்னா it will be creating fog, okay. And also it is on the earth's surface visibility to thousands meter or over, okay va. So the visibility means நம்ம எவ்வளோ தூரம் இருக்கோம்னா thousands kilometer or lower அப்படி தான் இருக்கும், visibility இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க, okay. For aviation purpose the criterions for fog is 10 kilometer or less than. So if there is an aviation purpose means what is the fog condition means, if it is 10 kilometer or less than means it is can able to do the aviation purpose, okay. And the mist means moodubani. Mist is the tiny droplets of water hanging in the air, okay. It is a very tiny droplets which is hanging in the air, okay. காத்துல தொங்கிட்டு இருக்க ஒரு மிக சிறிய நீர் துளிகளை தான் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா மூடுபனின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. And these droplets form when the water vapors in the air is rapidly cooled and causing it to change from the invisible gas to tiny visible water droplets, okay. So this happens because of when the droplets form okay, the water vapors in the air is rapidly cooled, okay va. So because of water vapors is continuously cooled means this is change, okay, from invisible gases to the tiny visible water droplets, okay. So invisible இருக்க gases-லாம் எப்படி மாறும்னா tiny visible water droplets-ஆ மாறும். Mist is the less dense than fog, okay va. So mist is considered as the most dense, okay, is less dense than fog, okay. And clouds na மேகம். Clouds consist of a tiny water droplets or ice particle which are so small and light in weight, okay. So if you take clouds mean it consists of tiny water droplets, okay, or ice particles. It will be in a very light weight, okay. And clouds are formed by the microscopic drops of water. So from this only the clouds are formed, okay, and by small ice crystals, okay, or some by small ice crystals. and the size of droplets generally range from a couple of microns to 100 microns. Okay, so the size of droplets can be changed, okay, from a couple of microns to 1000 microns. And when the size of the water droplets exceed 100 micron mean it becomes a raindrops. Okay, so இது வந்து 100 microns எக்ஸீட் ஆயிடுச்சு, இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்றப்ப தான் நம்மளுக்கு எப்படியா வந்து கிடைக்குதுன்னா ரெயினாக கிடைக்குது, ரெயின் ட்ராப்ஸாக கிடைக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகே, அண்ட் next one is precipitation. Precipitation means மழை பொழிவு. Precipitation refers to all forms of water that falls from the clouds and reaches the earth's surface. So precipitation means it is also water vapor, okay va, and it is also forms of water, okay, from the cloudsல இருந்து நமக்கு கிடைக்கும். It reaches the earth's surfaceல வந்து விழுகிறது. And for the occurrence of precipitation, the clouds droplets are ice crystals must grow heavy enough to fall through the air. So this is and all happening because of the air, okay, and the cloud drops or the ice crystals must be very if it is they grow heavily means it will be fall on the earth, okay, through the air. And when the droplets grow larger in size, they tend to fall. Okay, so அந்த droplets வந்து ரொம்ப சைஸில் வந்து லார்ஜாக இருக்கிறப்ப அது எப்படி வருது, நம்மளுக்கு மழை பொழிவாக வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. While moving down by collecting some small droplets, they become heavy enough to fall out of the clouds as it raindrops. Okay, so when the moving down, மேகங்கள் வந்து நகர by collecting some droplet, okay va, and also collecting small droplets, and also it will be fall and the very heavy enough to fall. ஓகே, சின்ன மலைக்குள்ளே சேர்ந்து பெரிய மலையை நம்மளுக்கு க்ளவுட்ஸ்லேருந்து விழுகுது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகே, அண்ட் forms of precipitation, and the forms of precipitation in a region depends on the kind of weather or climate on the region. So it is the forms will be differ based on the kinds of weather and also climatic condition of the region. And the precipitation in the warmer parts of the world is always from the rain or drizzle. Okay, so if it is in warmer parts of the world means it will be form of rain or drizzle na மழை துளிகளா வருது. And in a colder region means precipitation may be fall as a snow or ice. Okay, so if it is a colder region place means it will be fall on the snow வருது, இல்லைன்னா ஐஸ் பனிக்கட்டிகளா வருது. And common types of precipitation are rain, sleet, freezing rain, and hail and snow. So these are the common types of precipitation. First one is we are going to see about rain na மழை, and the most common kind of precipitation is rain. Okay, so this is very common, and the precipitation in the form of water droplet is called rain. Okay, so if it is in the form of water droplet, மழை துளிகளா விழுகிறத நம்ம மழைன்னு சொல்றோம். And the precipitation in which the size of rain drops are less than 0.5 millimeter means millimeter in diameter is known as a drizzle. Okay, and the raindrops with greater than 0.5 millimeter mean is in a diameter is known as a rain. So if it is less than 0.5 millimeter means it is known as a drizzle, மழை துளின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ஓகேவா, துளிகளாக விழுகிறது. And it is greater than 0.5 millimeter means it is considered as a rain, மழை அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறோம். ஓகே, and generally drizzles takes place from the stratus cloud. So it is collected from the stratus of cloud only. And sleet means கல்மழை அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. The precipitation which takes place in the form of mixture of water droplets. Okay, so because of mixture of water droplets only, and the tiny particle of ice is known as a sleet. Okay, so the mixture of water droplets and also tiny particle of ice is combined to make a sleet. And sometimes raindrops fall through the layer of air below 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so and the raindrops, okay, if it is below 0 degrees Celsius means it will be considered as a rain. Okay, and the freezing point of water. So if it is the raindrops and all below 0 degrees Celsius means it is considered as a freezing point of water. Water எப்படி ஆயிரும், freezing ஆயிரும் அப்படின்றாங்க. And as they fall, the raindrops freeze into solid particle of ice. So at that point என்ன ஆகும், அந்த it will be fall on the solid particle of the ice. okay, solid particle மேலே விழுக ஆரம்பிச்சிடும். And so the mixture of the water droplets and ice particles would fall on the earth's surface. So the mixture of the water droplets and ice particles and also the both of them would fall on the earth's surface. Okay, ரெண்டும் சேர்ந்து தான் அந்த earth surfaceல விழுது. And freezing rain, உறைபனி மழை. Raindrops falling through the cold air near the ground do not freeze in the air. So sometimes the raindrops and all falling through the cold air means near the ground means that drops and all do not freeze in the air. Instead the raindrops freeze when they touch the cold surface. Okay, but instead of that the raindrops and all touching any cold surface mean it become a freeze. Okay, and this is called freezing rain. And drops of water are usually greater than 0.5 millimeter in a diameter. So the drop of water, it is a greater than 0.5 millimeter means it is considered as a freezing rain. And hail means ஆலங்கட்டி மழை. The precipitation which consists of round pallet of ice which are larger than 5 millimeter in diameter is called hail or hailstone. So இந்த ஆலங்கட்டி மழைனா நமக்கு தெரியும், உருண்டு கல்லுக்கெல்லாம் இருக்கும். ஓகேவா, உருண்டையாக கல்லுமா இருக்கும். அதுதான் என்ன சொல்லணும்னா pallet of ice. And larger than 5 millimeter it is called as a hail. ஓகேவா, so the round pallet of ice which is larger than a 5 millimeter in diameter means that is called as a hail or hailstone. Hail forms only in cumulonimbus clouds during thunderstorm. A hailstone starts as an ice pallet inside the cold regions of the cloud. So we can see the hailstones starts as an ice pallet inside the cold regions only. Okay, and strong updraft in the cloud carry the hailstones up and down through the cloud through the cold regions many times. So the hailstones and all we can inside the cold regions of a clouds. Okay, so it will be in the cold regions of the cloud, and strong updraft in the cloud carry the hailstones. So the cloud only carrying the hailstones up and down and through the cold regions many times. Okay, so அந்த clouds என்ன பண்ணுன்னா up and down கொண்டு வரும் இந்த cold regions many times அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். Okay, and snow means பனிப்பொழிவு of water vapors in a cloud is converted directly into the snow pieces due to lowering of temperature. So because of lower temperatures the water vapor in the clouds only converting directly into snow pieces convert பண்ணுது அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. Okay, it is appears like a powdery mass of ice. The precipitation in the form of powdery mass of ice is known as a snowfall. So it will be look like in a very powdery mass of ice. Okay, and it is common in the polar and high mountain region. Okay, so we can able to see this in the places of mountain region and also polar regions. Okay, and an infiltration, water enters in the soil at the surface of the ground is termed as a infiltration. Okay, so water which is entered in the ground means that is termed as a infiltration allows the soil temporarily to store water making it available for plants use and organisms in soil. So we can use this in the infiltration only allows soil temporarily. Okay, so the water only temporarily allowed in the soils and also store the waters for the purpose of plant use and also organism in the soil. Okay, and infiltration is an important process where rainwater soak into the ground. So through infiltration only the rainwater and all soak into the ground and through the soil and the underlying rocks layer. So the rainwaters and all stored in the underground and also through the soil and also underlying rocks இது கீழே தான் இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. Okay, and some of this water ultimately return to the surface through the spring or low spots down. So some of the water, okay, which is returned to the surface through the spring and also low spots down hills in the hill areas, and some of the water remains underground. So some water will be remain in the underground only and it is called as a groundwater. Okay, so அதுலேருந்து வரக்கூடிய தண்ணிகள்லாம் பொழிவுக்குள்ளே அந்த மழை பொழிவுனால வரக்கூடிய தண்ணிகள்லாம் பாதி மேலே தேங்கியிருக்கும். சிலர் அண்டர் கிரவுண்டில் அப்சர்வ் ஆகி அண்டர் கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டராக மிக்ஸ் ஆயிரும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகேவா, அண்ட் த ரேட் ஆஃப் இன்ஃபில்ட்ரேஷன் இஸ் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ்டு பை த ஃபிசிக்கல் கேரக்டரிஸ்டிக் ஆஃப் த சாயில், vegetation covers and moisture content of the soil and soil temperature and rainfall intensity. So the physical characters only influenced. Okay, what are the physical character? Means soil vegetation covers because of moisture content of the soil, and also soil temperature and rainfall. Okay, it will be increased. The terms infiltration and percolations are often used in interchangeably. Okay, so these terms and all often used for in order to change interchangeably we can use. Okay, and next one is percolations. Percolation is the downward movement of infiltrated water through soil and root layers, rock layers. Okay, so these terms we can use for the purpose of downward movement of the infiltration. Okay, புவியோட அடிப்பகுதியில் நடக்கக்கூடிய அந்த infiltration water through soil. Okay, இது எது மூலியமாக தான் போகுதுன்னா soil மூலியமாக rock மூலியமாக. And infiltration occurs near the surface of the soil and delivers water from the surface into the soil, plant root and zone. So this is only deliver the water to plants and also soil. Okay, and the surface into the soil. And percolation moves into infiltrated water through the soil profile and rock layer, which leads to the formation of the groundwater. So this is only because of soil profile and also rock layers only leads to the to form a groundwater or become a part of a surface and runoff process. Okay, so this is only leads to runoff process. Thus the percolation process represent the flow of water from unstarted zone to the started zone. So this is only leads to this percolation process only. Okay, and the water will be flows from unstarted zones to started zones. Okay, so next one is runoff. In Tamil we can call it as a neer valindodal. Runoff is the water that is pulled by gravity across the land surface. It is replenishes groundwater and surface water as it is percolates into an aquifer. It is an underground layer of water bearing rock or moves into the river, streams or watershed. So due to gravity pull, the water will be across the land surface. Okay, so that is called as a runoff. And it also clear the it is also purify the waters. It is also purify the groundwaters and also surface water and into aquifer. Aquifer means it only purifying the waters, groundwaters and also surface water, and it moves into a river. So that water moves into streams or watersheds. Okay, and it comes from the unabsorbed water from rain. So this kind of water we can get it from the rain only. Okay, and snow melt. So மழை பெய்யற மூலமா snow melt ஆகுற மூலமா and irrigations or other sources comprising a significant element in the water cycle, as well as the water supply when it rains into a watershed. So these kind of it comes from, we can get these kind of water from these. Okay, for irrigations we can get, and also other sources and comprising significant element in the water cycle. So these are the elements, these are the significant elements in order to in the participation of water cycle. Okay, and runoff is also major contributor to the erosion which carves out canyons, gorges and later landforms. The rate of runoff that can be happen depends on the amount of rainfall and porosity of soil and vegetation and slope. So the runoff is a major contributions in the erosions. Okay, and the rate of runoff, okay, it is depend upon the amount of rainfall. Okay, so based on the amount of rainfall only it will be happen, which is the rate of runoff. And also porosity of soil, the conditions of soil, அந்த நீரை வந்து எவ்வளோ அதற்கு அது உறிஞ்சிக்கிறது அதை பற்றியும் அதோட தன்மையை வச்சும், and vegetation and slope வச்சு தான் என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா இந்த rate of runoff will be declared. And only about 35% of the precipitation ends up in the sea or ocean, and other 65% is absorbed into the soil. So 35% of precipitations, okay, which is ends in the sea or ocean, and other 65% is absorbed in the soil. Okay, which is absorbed by the soil only. And types of runoff. Okay, so based on this interval between the insistence of rainfall and generation of runoff, and the runoff may be classified into following three types. Okay, surface runoff. It is the portions of rainfall which enters the stream immediately after the rainfall. So this kind of rainwater which is automatically, some portions of rainfall which are automatically entered into the stream immediately. Okay, stream la poi kalandrum, and it occurs when the rainfall is longer, heavier, and exceeds the rate of infiltration. So if the rainfall is very longer or heavier, means the level of rate of infiltration will be increased, and in this condition the excess of water makes a head over the ground surface which tends to move from one place to another and following the land gradient and is known as the overland flow. So when the water will be excess, okay, the ground and the head over the ground means it is moved from one place to another place. That flow is called as a overland flow. When the overland flow joins streams, so the அதிகமாக அந்த மேலே இருக்க தண்ணி எப்படி எதில் போய் ஜாயின் ஆயிரும்னா streams and channels or oceans, it is termed as surface runoff or surface flow. Okay, and subsurface runoff, the water that has entered the subsoil and moves laterally without joining the water table to the streams, river or ocean is known as subsurface runoff. So the waters entered in the subsoil, okay, so which is moves laterally, okay, ஒரு செங்குத்தா தான் போகும், அதாவது சைடில் தான் போகும், ஓகேவா, and also that kind of water flow not will be joined in the water table such as like streams, rivers, oceans, ஓகேவா. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி அதோட கலக்காத பக்கவாட்டில் போகக்கூடிய அந்த வாட்டர் தான் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா சப்சர்ஃபேஸ் ரன் ஆஃப்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகே, and the subsurface runoff is usually referred as the interflow. So they are called as another name for subsurface is interflow. And base flow, next one is base flow. It is the flow of underground water from a saturated groundwater zones to a water channel. So from a saturated groundwater zones, okay, and to a water channel it will be flow. Okay, and it is usually appears at the downstream location where the channel elevation, so it will be comes in a downstream only and is lower than the groundwater table. So this kind of water channels will be lower than groundwater, and groundwater provides the stream flow during a dry periods of small or no precipitation. So during the dry period the groundwater provides this kind of water from stream flow. Okay, and units of a measurement and pertaining to hydrology, evaporation or interception means it is measured by the unit will be inches or centimeter. Infiltration means inches or centimeter or hour, and precipitation means it is considered as a unit inches or millimeter or centimeter. And runoff, it is runoff mean inches or millimeter or centimeter. Runoff rate mean cubic feet per second, and runoff value means acre feet or cubic feet, and storage cubic feet or acre feet. Okay, thank you students.